shaped trouser. Okay, so this is our back pattern, this here is our front pattern. So let's get to it. So we are going to come to our knee length here, okay, and we are going to be measuring what we have there. Here we have 4.75, so 4.75 for everything, and we are going to come down here and measure the 4.75. so we are going to be measuring here, just add to it. So 4.75, here we have 4, we have 3.7 already, so we are going to be adding 1 inch. So we are adding a 0.5 here and a 0.5 here, like so, and like so. So this 0.5 and 0.5, we are going to connect it to just our knee length. Okay, okay, so this is our new trouser. All right, so this now is our shaped trouser, and we are going to be doing the same thing to the back pattern. We are measuring what we have here on our knee. Okay, we have 3.7 here, so we measure what we have. Okay, so we are adding 1 inch, so 0.5 here and 0.5 here. We are connecting it. Okay. So that is all for the shaped trouser. So the next thing that we are going to do is to draft palazzo. So for palazzo trouser, I'm still going to be using this pattern. Okay, I'm still going to be using this pattern. So now for palazzo trouser, we are going to, there are 2 ways to drafting a palazzo trouser. The first one is to measure what we have on our crotch. Okay, we measure what we have on our crotch. Here we have 6.6. So we are going to come down to the knee, to the full length here, and measure what we have. Here we already have let's make use of, now let's do away with this line. Now let's do away with this. Okay, we are not using this. Let's assume this is not here. Okay, so we only have here. All right, so now the 6.6 that we are going to be measuring what we have here. We have 3.7, so 3.7 minus 6.6, 3.7 minus 6.6, we have about 2.4. So we are going to be dividing that 2.4. Okay, 2.4 divided by 2, we have 1.2, 1.2 here, 1.2 here. So we are going to be measuring from here, from this point, 1.2 outward, 1.2 outward. So I'm measuring the 1.2 like so, and the 1.2 like so. Then I'm going to be connecting it all the way to the crotch. Okay, I'm going to be connecting it all the way to the crotch. Alright, then I'll do the same thing here all the way to the crotch. Okay, so this is our palazzo now. Okay, this is how it is looking. All right, so we are going to be doing the same thing to the front pattern. Remember, we are done with the shaped trouser, so let's cancel this, okay. Then we are going to go to our crotch, same thing we did for the front. For the back pattern, here we have 5.1 on our crotch. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom leg. Remember, I'm measuring from here to here, so I'm going to measure what we have. We have 2.7. Okay, 2.7 minus 5.1. So 2.7 minus 5.1. So whatsoever we have, we are going to be dividing it by 2. Here I have 1 inch here and 1 inch here. So I'm going to be connecting it all the way to the crotch on both sides. Okay, to the crotch line. This is our crotch line. Okay, so this is the first way of doing, drafting a palazzo trouser. Okay, so now we are going to move on. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to draft a short trouser. There's nothing much about a short trouser. You can just measure your length. Probably, okay, maybe it's a bum short. If it's a bum short, you just measure what you want, how short you want it on your drafted block pattern. If you don't want it to be like free, you can just make use of this pattern inside, not this one, the main one that we have before we started drafting the shapes and the palazzo. You can make use of this one, or if we want it to be free, we can make it extended, like it has been extended like so. So that is that on short trouser. There's nothing much to it than to the length. Then the next thing is we have culotte. So culotte trouser is the short, like 3/4 of palazzo. That is just it. It's just the 3/4 of palazzo. So the same way we have drafted this palazzo, we are just going to make it 3/4. Culotte trouser is always 3/4, not short to the knee length. It is always below our knee, so we can just come down from our knee. Okay, probably let's say, okay, I want to make it like 3 inches. Okay, so let's say my 3 inches, my 3/4 length is 3 inches below is 3 inches below my knee. Okay, now I'm using this trouser block that we are using here is the small scale, not the full body scale. That's why the measurement is small. So I'm going to be connecting it like so. Okay. Okay, so from down here to the top is our culotte trouser. Okay, I want to use the red marker to differentiate it. Okay. Okay. Alright, so the part that has the red from up here, from down here to the top, that is a culotte trouser. Alright. So that is our culotte trouser. You can have that on it and you might not have that, but let me also trace out that as well. Okay. So all the parts that has red, that is for our culotte trouser. So the same thing we did for the back pattern, we are going to come here and do the same thing as well. Come down from the knee length 3 inches. Okay. Okay, so every part that we have the red line is our culotte trouser. Okay, so that is how culotte is. Okay, so that is our culotte trouser. You can see how nice it is. And this is the back pattern. This is the front pattern. All right, so we are going to proceed to drafting the another method of drafting palazzo, another method of drafting culotte, and the last thing on our timetable is bootcut. So we have 3 things left. Today we've done shaped trousers, we've done palazzo, right, the first method, and we've done the first method of drafting a culotte. We've done 3 things. All right, we are going to be drafting another method of another method we can use to draft culotte and palazzo trouser. So this is our back pattern here. Okay, so what we are going to be doing, okay, is to first of all, okay, close the dart. The first one that we did has dart, so if you want your culotte or your palazzo to have a dart, you can use that method. But if you don't want it to have dart, okay, you can use this method. Just close it up like so, close the dart like so. Okay, close the dart like so, then connect this line here to this one. Okay, so we can go ahead now. We are now going to slash through this line. Okay, so I'm going to slash through like so. We are not going to be cutting it through. Okay, we are just going to be cutting it, the tips of the waist. Okay, then we are going to put another paper underneath. Okay, like so. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to pin it at the top. Okay, pin it at the top, and then we are going to come down here and mark the middle line, okay, before we spread. It is very important so that we'll know the amount of fullness that we want to add on both sides. So now we can now spread and spread as much as we want. Okay, so we are going to spread. We can use gum to hold our paper down, or we can use pin, but here I'm just using pin to hold it down. Okay, so when I'm done, I'm going to measure what I have from here to here. That's what I'm going to use for the other side. So here I have 2.75. okay, so while I'm spreading the other side, okay, I have to make sure that it is 2.75 as well. Okay, this is where my 2.75 is, so I'm just going to move the paper to that side. Okay, and just pin. Okay, okay, so this is our pattern now. Okay, then we can now use our pattern master to connect with the curving part. Okay, to connect them together like so. So this is our palazzo trouser. So I'm going to cut it out so that we can see how it looks like. So this is our pattern. So I want to please add this. Please note that for all the patterns, the trouser pattern that we have been drafting, we have added the sewing allowance for the sides. So the places that we are going to be adding allowance is at the waist, okay, 0.5 for the waist. Then for the bottom leg, the down side of our pants, we will always add 1.5 or 2 inches or maybe 1 inches. It depends on how we want to fold the downside of our trouser, okay. But this both side, the allowances has been added from the beginning of the pattern. We are not adding any allowances to it, okay. So now this is our pattern, okay. This is our palazzo pattern. So the same way we did for this, that is how we are going to do for the back pattern as well. So we are going to move on now to draft our, okay, before we move on, please, this same way that we have drafted this, that is how we are going to draft our culotte, okay. That is how we are going to draft our culotte. Now remember, culotte is the 3/4 of our palazzo. So remember, this is our knee length, okay. This is our knee length. So we came down by 3 inches, so we can still make use of this line, okay. So I'm just going to be connecting it with our curve ruler, okay. Okay, so from this 3/4 length upward, that is our palazzo. That is our palazzo trouser. So the same way we did for this, that is how we are going to do for the front pattern as well. I've labeled it. We have our culotte, okay. This is our culotte length, and this is palazzo length, which is the full length, okay. So this is what we have. So continuation, we are going to be drafting boot cut now, okay. So boot cuts always start on the knee line, but I recommend that we can go up maybe by 0.5 a little bit, just to give it that fit, you know. So we can go up by 0.5 or 1 inch, but here I'm going to be going up by 1 inch, okay. From our knee length, we are going to be going up by 1 inch, right. Okay, so from this now, I'm just going to be slashing through this line from here, okay, like so and like so. All right, let's quickly do that. So flash. Okay, so we are going to be placing another paper under, okay. So yeah, I've placed another paper under it. Remember, the first thing we are going to be doing, like we did when we were drafting the palazzo, is to mark the middle line of this pattern. Okay, then after marking the middle line, we are going to be spreading. You can spread as wide as you want, but here I'm not going to be spreading too much. Oh, let's just say I'm adding like from the middle line, I want to add like 3 inches. So here is where my 3 inches is. Okay, so I'm going to move my paper down there. Okay, and then pin it. Then I'm going to mark the same thing here, 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to pin like so. Okay, let's pin this down as well so it will not be moving. Oh, it has cut. Okay. Okay, so remember we are going to be adding our allowance here. So the allowance that we have, first of all, connect these two together. Okay, then add your allowance here. I don't think I have much down here, so I'm going to be using 1 inch as the allowance, but the allowance that we are supposed to add should be, well, we can add 1 inch and then fold it to 0.5 is 0.5, and we are folding it, and we can add more up to 3 inches, I mean up to 2 inches rather. So we are going to connect all this together. Okay, so I'm going to cut out this pattern now. So this is our boot cut. This is the front pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the back pattern as well, and I'll show us the outcome. So here is our back pattern. I've already slashed it just like we did for the front pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead now. Okay, and mark the center line. So now remember, we added the fullness we added to the front pattern is 3 inches. So the 3 inches that we added to the front pattern is the same thing that we are going to be adding to the front pattern as well. Okay, so from here to here 3 inches, from here outside 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do so. So this is our back pattern. Okay, I've added the allowance down, so it's just to add the 0.5 here, remember. And this is our front pattern. Okay, this is our front pattern, just to add the 0.5 allowance here. The allowance here, I've added it already. Okay, so we are done for all the trouser we have.